The NCAA tournament has started. I'm Maria Tribal Peace here with Lauren Quentz. Really quick before we get into our matchups for today, let's recap last night's game between Virginia Tech and BYU. Quick thoughts.
Well, I was shocked. Leadoff home run. I called a pitcher's duel, and there was a leadoff home run. BYU getting ahead on Keely Rochard. A little bit shocked there, but when I turned off this game, it was 5-1, and I think Keely Rochard did a great job of just bouncing back after that leadoff home run, and the Virginia Tech offense strung together some hits and scored. So
they still came back, stepped it up, and not exactly what we thought it was going to be, but still you still had some good points there with Keely Rochard coming in and shutting down that BYU offense. So now that's our quick recap. We're done because now we want to keep moving in this tournament. Who are your games to watch today? Give me your first one.
My first game to watch is Villanova and Ole Miss. I think this is a great matchup. It is the 3 and the 2 seed of the Tucson Regional in Arizona. Here's why I think this is a great matchup. Normally I'm all pitching and defense, but I think the matchups I picked today are going to be heavily relying on their offense. And both Villanova and Ole Miss have great offensive numbers right now. Not that pitching is not their strength, but I definitely believe that hitting is both of those teams' strengths. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Hillenbrand. I talked to some of the Villanova players today, and they were saying the ball is flying out of this stadium. So I think it's going to be all hitting, and it's going to be, I'm calling Villanova, Ole Miss. There are some players to watch in Paige Rao from Villanova, Chloe Smith, even from Villanova. They are putting up great batting averages right now, great numbers. You also have Ryan Henry leading the team in home runs, 13 home runs. And then also on the other side of that, Ole Miss, you have Anna Borgen, Savannah Diedrich in the circle. But then also they have some great hitters, and I think it's going to be hitting. I think hitting is going to be the name of the game.
And I think even on the flip side, so hitting will be a huge part in that game right there, the 2 and the 3 seed. I think they're going to duke it out. But then on the flip side, it will come down on how well each of those pitchers do. So there's still the pitching in there, which I know you're a big fan of the pitching in general. So
yeah, I think what it's going to come down to is it's going to be an offensive game. Both of these teams are going to show up. They have bats. It's going to be a matter of which defense and which pitchers can shut it down, or at least hold it down enough to win.
And then that kind of brings me to my game then. You're talking about the one with another 2 and a 3 seed, James Madison and Liberty. And I really can't tell you who's going to win this because, I mean, another great 2 and 3 seed matchup. And, we're talking about the year of the mid-majors. These are two really good mid-major teams, if you want to even call them that, with the way that JMU has been on the rise since the last couple of years. But yeah, seriously, they've been we call them a mid-major, but they've been they've been on the rise forever. But anyway, so they have Odyssey Alexander, who has been great in the circle. She can hit too. I'm really excited to watch her play. And then Liberty, under the helm of Dot Richardson, they have the Bishop sisters, who can just flat out break, and they have been for years. So I don't know if this is going to be a pitcher's duel. I don't know if it's going to be a hitting matchup. I would say that this game between JMU and Liberty is just going to be a really freaking good softball game. And that is what I'm excited about, because I think both of these teams kind of have something to prove a little bit in the fact that they're still considered these mid-major teams. How much do they have to win to be considered for people to not consider them an underdog, So I kind of am very excited to see that with the key players. And also, in terms of JMU, they have this very senior laden roster. A lot of them coming back for their fifth year because of COVID, and I think that that too is motivation. Just you get that one more year, you got to lay it all on the line. So you have that in Liberty, James Madison. I am so stoked to watch this game.
I'm so stoked to watch that game too. I think it's going to be. I don't know which way it's going to go. I don't know if the bats, or it's going to be a 10-9 game, or if it's going to be a 1-0 game. I don't know, but I'm with you. I think it's just going to be, it is a great matchup. It's so evenly matched.
And I think that's something that like I'm so excited about is because, you get your regional games, right? And so often, especially in years past, like the 1 and the 4 play, the 4 gets annihilated, right? Even in the 2 and the 3, they're like, the two's maybe pretty good. They might duke it out a little bit. And then that 1 seed just annihilates everybody else. But in this regional, they're in Knoxville in Tennessee. So whoever wins that 2-3 game, first of all, Tennessee still has to win the 1-4 game. Whoever wins that 2-3 game is right there with Tennessee too. So I just think this regional in general, and I think regionals across the country right now, we talked about it, the year of the mid-major, like closing that gap. I am really excited for that.
Well, I just think too with softball, it can go any which way. It's literally what team plays the best that day. And anyone can beat anyone at this point. These two that we've talked about so far, Villanova, Ole Miss, Liberty, JMU, are very evenly matched on all facets of the sport, pitching, hitting, defense. So it's really going to be interesting to see what happens in those matchups.
And I think it comes down to too, like who steps up when their number is called. Because we talked about this already a little bit, but I just think that like when you have these evenly matched games, like that's what it comes down to. And who is getting hot at the right time? Like you could be great all year, and now are you going to step up in the crunch time? And I know you have another game that you're keeping an eye on too.
Yes, I am keeping an eye on the Norman Regional. Oklahoma. All
Okay.
right. I just love to watch them ball. They are great. They are just sharp team. But the game that I'm really eager to watch is the Wichita State Texas A&M game. And that is because, again, these teams are very evenly matched. In my opinion, Texas A&M is actually coming off of a 7-game losing streak. They're playing in the SEC. So you got to kind of take that into consideration. I mean, if you look at their game by game statistics, it's kind of like they're hitting, it's almost like they're going backwards, right? Like they are struggling a little bit right now. So it would be the perfect time for them to flip that switch. And I think they're hungry to do so. But then you have Wichita State, who,
yeah, tell me about Wichita State. I need some more details on them.
They can hit power numbers. They can hit. They got 94 home runs on the year. They hit 3 home runs in their championship to win the American Athletic Conference championship over UCF. They can hit. So I think what's going to be interesting is that dynamic. Again, like we talked about, it's like evenly matched up. Both teams can hit. The pitching for both teams, not that it's not strong or not that it's not good. I just don't believe it's their strong suit. I think their hitting, both for A&M and for Wichita State, is the driving factor for these teams. So it's going to be interesting to see which pitching staff, A&M or Wichita State, can handle the other one better, and which offense is going to be able to go off and capitalize. Now, Wichita State, they have some big wins this year. Oklahoma State, they've beaten Oklahoma State. They took 4 out of the 5 major awards in their conference. They have Sydney McKinney. She is the player of the year. They have Addison Barnard. She is the freshman of the year or rookie of the year.
It sounds like it was the BYU we were talking about yesterday. It was like, when Khaled says another one, like it's just like, check it off, like casual. We're just going to sweep all the awards in the conference this year.
Yeah, 4 out of the 5. I mean, they have 4 out of the 5 in the American Athletic Conference. And then Kaylee Huker, she's defensive player of the year. I think that's really cool. A really cool award, the defensive player of the year, because I love defense. So
and you're seeing it more, and I feel like it goes so overlooked. It's like it's so overlooked that I like that they're having like all defensive teams, like defensive player of the year. Yeah, it's huge.
Good defense is like looking at a piece of art. It's like a masterpiece. They have Bailey Lang in the circle. She has a 2.55 ERA. She has a 212 batting average against her. So we're probably going to be looking at her mostly in the circle for them. Now, on the other side of that, Texas A&M has Mackenzie Herzog. She's been doing it all for them. She's hitting, she's pitching. She's a 370 batting average. She has a 2.56 ERA in 120 innings. She is first team All SEC, So both teams have these standout impact players, but again, I think it's going to come down to hitting and which pitchers in the circle can hold it down enough to get the win.
And it comes down to also too is like not just hitting, but like who's clicking at the right times. Like you can't just have I forget who I was talking about, but they're like, yeah, our hitters, it's either the top of the order hits or the bottom of the order hits. And like when they are all gonna get on the same page, like that's gonna be great.
So you're dangerous.
Yeah, like, and I think I mean, it sounds so simple, but like it's not. It's like getting everybody to click at the same time. So can these teams click at the same time? And how do they adjust if they're not clicking at the same time? Because you can still win games if only 3 or 4 hitters are hitting, if you're strategic and you do a good job. So I think that will be interesting to watch as well. So just a quick recap, if you had to pick who's winning these games, I know we just talked about how it's all so close. Tell me who's winning the 2 games you picked. I'll tell you my pick for my game.
Okay. I'm going Villanova is going to take the game over Ole Miss, and Wichita State is going to take the game over the Aggies. So how about you?
All right. Well, we'll see how that plays out when we analyze all this tomorrow. But I'm taking JMU just for the simple fact that they've been here before. I think they're pretty evenly matched with Liberty. I think Liberty's a great team, but I like the experience from Odyssey Alexander, Sarah Jubis, those types of players. So I'm taking JMU. You have your 2 picks. I have mine. We'll go over them again tomorrow, but that about does it for the time that we have today. Again, NCAA tournament started yesterday. We have a full slate of games today, but these are the ones that we'll be watching. So stay tuned for more, and we'll see you tomorrow.